Not gonna lie, this is gonna be a really freaking hard movie review to do. It's just the sad, honest truth. Hey, what's up, guys? It has been a hot minute since I have done a movie review, and I know it's been a while since we've kind of put content up on this channel, but I figured I've waited long enough for this movie that this has been something I've just been planning on doing for a while. So welcome to my personal review. No one else has seen this with me, other than maybe seeing that Matt said this movie was phenomenal. I haven't talked to anybody about it other than, I guess, internally, because I saw it alone. So this is, as you can see from the title, the review for the 2017 adaptation of Blade Runner 2049, the sequel to 1982's Blade Runner, starring Harrison Ford, who returns to play Rick Deckard, with Ryan Gosling playing the star role of Officer K in this film, and this movie was nuts. Before I get in too much into the review, I'm going to lay some groundwork real quick. This was an R-rated movie. There's a lot of nudity. There's some violence here and there. While granted, it is not... Yes, those aspects make it a not, I guess, kid-friendly movie, I guess. This is a very, very dark, grim world. The world itself almost can be seen as a bad guy in of itself. We see this post-apocalyptic world, obviously 2049, in where the world is just gone. We have obviously some pockets of humanity left here and there, but we are left with what we are, I guess, led to believe that there's remnants of the world left over to a degree, but it's more or less societal situations that we are left with. This movie felt very Black Mirror-esque in the way of technology presented in ways that we could hope and dream of, but at the same time, all that technology and glory that surrounds it just throws you through a loop, and it's just really, in the end, not what anybody wants. Let's go through the cast and crew real quick. This movie was directed by, pardon me for butchering our director's name here, Denis Villeneuve, director of one of my personal favorite movies ever, Prisoners, as well as, I think it was 2015's Arrival. Maybe Arrival was last year. I'm not really sure. Forgive me for that. I know we did a movie podcast review. Again, starring Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, Ana de Armas, Sylvia Hoeks, Robin Wright, Mackenzie Davis, Carla Juri, Lenny James, Dave Bautista, and Jared Leto. Music by Hans Zimmer, and this was produced by Alcon Entertainment, Columbia Pictures, which is a subsidiary of Sony, so Sony branding is all over this movie, and it feels like it too, but not enough to be like overly saturated with it. And this movie was distributed by Warner Brothers. This movie is 2 hours and 43 minutes, but it's a slog, but it's worth it. At least I think so. And the budget was 150 to 185 million. There's no given estimate movie total, like most do, but as of right now, the movie's made about, according to the Wikipedia page, is made $2,833, so it's on its way to making that back. It's expected to make about 59 million here in the US, and I wouldn't be surprised if it makes way over that. Alright, let's get into the plot. This movie follows Officer K, Ryan Gosling character, who plays a Blade Runner who is sent to, his job is essentially to go and find bioengineered replicants of humans and establish them, or not establish, dispose of them, because they have kind of worked their way into society and are menaces because they are outdated in the terms of essentially what Jared Leto's character is creating. I can't really get too much into the plot itself without giving away some spoilers, but it's essentially Ryan Gosling's character trying to close out a case in which he learns at the beginning that two of the bioengineered human beings who technically aren't supposed to be able to reproduced and had a child. So he spends the movie hunting down said child, and we learn that the father of said child is, of course, Harrison Ford's character. That's about as deep as a spoiler as I'm going to get, just because, I mean, he was in the original. If you didn't see that coming, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But that's about all I'm going to give away in terms of spoilers. So his first encounter is with Dave Bautista's character, and he's just there for some answers. And it's pretty much all downhill from there. It's kind of crazy to think that, for the most part, every character in this movie, at least that we meet directly, such as Ana de Armas's character, who plays a hologram, who is Ryan Gosling's like hologram housewife. To see these characters play synthetic, not really human creatures, carry out the emotion that they do and the feeling that they give to the movie. It's crazy to think about that they're supposed to be this, but yet they have such feelings and emotion. They've got manufactured memories that just keep pushing them through. And it's crazy to think that we get from where we start to where we end because the emotions and everything like that become real. There's an interaction between two characters where one is like, these feelings are real because someone has felt them before. A real human being felt your feelings, and that's illegal because synthetics and bioengineered humans aren't meant to have real feelings. They're supposed to be fake. But again, I can't get into this without giving away a lot of spoilers, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Just going to throw this out there as well, because I was thinking about it on the way home. There are bad guys in this movie, but everything in this movie kind of feels like it's a bad guy. There's no definitive hero we're cheering for here. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it's all kind of in our face, and you kind of just have to hope for the best, because this movie doesn't offer that much of it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. If anything, I feel like that's what really drives this movie for me personally, because it takes us to a point where, yes, we have this thing we're expected with movies to just be, there's a hero we're cheering for the entire time, and if they succeed, that's great, and we can cheer with them. But this movie just doesn't have that. It has a point of redemption per se, kind of at the climax, but other than that, there's not really a whole heck of a lot of joy to this movie. It is emotionally a slog because, like I said at the start of this review, this movie is very, very intense because it's noir. It's science fiction, but it's noir at the same time. And noir always has this everything is going bad because it's just a bad world. And I think that's what makes this movie so great for me. I always talk about how I hate how movies always have this happy ending, and while to a degree I do believe this movie does have a happy ending, it doesn't leave you with a feeling of, I feel so accomplished. It leaves you with a feeling of, I need to go think about this, because that movie just laid down some serious knowledge and some feelings about just whatever the heck narrative they tried to lay out. Let's talk about the music real quick. Hans Zimmer, just great. Ridley Scott apparently has had this movie in plans for at least since '99, so it's been It's been about 34 some odd years in the making. I think 35-ish, give or take, in the end. But it's just such a great soundtrack. You can just tell it's Hans Zimmer from the get-go, because he's just holding down those keys, playing all the big ominous sounds, and if you're not ready for it, then you'll know it's Hans Zimmer without too much knowledge about Hans Zimmer in general. Um, let's talk about one of my favorite parts of this freaking movie. Um, I am a big fan of um, dark and dreary and rain and snow and just okay. Let me premise it this way. This movie takes place in at least for the most part, in uh, what is now Los Angeles, but it's essentially permanently dark and overcast, and oh, it's just so cool. It's so rainy and snowy, and it's just essentially post-apocalyptic. Oh gosh, I can't English. I'm trying to figure out how to word this because it's just my favorite part of the movie. It's so just post-apocalyptic that everything is like nuclear winter kind of feel to it, or it's just always raining and it's foggy in the city, and it's just this continuous landscape of just ugh. You just see the city lit up so much with all like the Asian billboards. It's kind of like the world of like Asia, Russia, and America smashed into LA. But it's like all this advertisement of giant billboards of lights everywhere going on the entire movie that just make everything light up. And that's pretty much like most of the light we get in the movie is just those billboards. But the rest of the movie and the world is just so dark. And there's just something, for me personally, that is soothing. That it just, gosh, I walked out of the movie and was driving home and it was cold and foggy, and I'm just like, I can get down with this. It was kind of like driving home after not necessarily leaving a theater, but leaving a universe that was created around me during that time, which is crazy, and I love it, and it's just so great. And sorry if you can hear that. Um, Ambulance or fire truck, whichever that is. Hopefully, that person or wherever they're headed is in good shape. If not, they will be in my thoughts. Just the cinematography for this is insane. Apparently, they shot this movie in Hungary, which makes sense because it's very snowy and very rainy and very overcast the entire time. But it is just such a gritty movie. But apparently they went into it with the thought of it being R. So they're setting it up from the get-go to be what you expect it to be. It's just so crazy to get from the point we start at in the movie to the point where the movie ends, because it is such a roller coaster in terms of what the creators want you to feel, and it's insane. And this movie review is going to be a little bit longer than normal because I can't like not think about it. I think one of my favorite things about this film, which apparently, according to Villeneuve, in an interview, the climate has gone berserk. The ocean, the rain, and the snow is all toxic. So, yeah, I can definitely see how this was intended to be. Apparently, this movie does also take place a few decades after the original, and hopefully this doesn't necessarily ruin my credibility per se, but I have not seen the original. It's on my list of things to see, but it is not at the forefront at the moment. But yeah, I wish I could just sit here and talk about this movie forever, because it is just so intense and so gritty. Again, it's that noir, that sci-fi noir feel. that just makes everything feel so unreal. And it's interesting because I guess I can go back and give a little bit of plot now because I realize it's not really very spoilery. Jared Leto's character, who is this um, creator of what's left over from uh, Tyrell Industries that was creating these synthetics that rebelled, and he's trying to perfect them. He is looking for this child because he believes that it will bring about perfection. He talks about the entire movie how he's creating angels, and he has this kind of, oh gosh, he kind of has this like God feel to him, but he's not a just God. He is a God that will destroy his creations because they aren't perfect, which is kind of counterintuitive to the Christian faith because obviously we believe that God created human beings, and it is known that we are not perfect, but yet God still loves us. But Jared Leto's character is like, I will do whatever it takes to achieve that perfection, and that includes destroying my creations in the past that aren't perfect. And he's looking for this child because this is the key he needs to be able to go forth and create as many bioengineered humans as he can. He says himself at one point, I cannot create many, I am limited. But having this child allows them to create more because they can figure out what along the line allowed these two bioengineered humans to create another life. And we talk about how a lot of these, or we hear a lot of talk between the characters about how even though they aren't human, the things that they are doing and the things they are striving towards, if they do them, they are achieving things more human than even human beings can do, which shows a longing for something more than they are, which we as humans can relate to very well because we want to be more than we are in this moment, and we strive towards being more than what we are. It's crazy to think that such, I guess, human thought and feeling can be portrayed on screen through characters that aren't meant to be human. I know that sounds really like anticlimactic and stuff like that, but this movie kind of inspires us, and even though the world's evil, and it can be very taken as this is kind of where we exist, but we can strive to be more. I'm not really sure if that is what the movie is trying to tell us, but it's just a feeling that I walked away with. And I just realized I've been going on for almost 20 minutes now, so I'm going to wrap this review up right quick. I give this movie about, I don't know if I want to give it on a scale of 1 to 10 or on a scale of 1 to 5. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. Again, the cinematography just drove me up a wall. I'm a sucker for some good visual animations. Just the trailers themselves were like, I need to go see this just for this alone. I was a big fan of The Revenant and just the scenery they created with the real world. But this kind of rivals that in a way of the things they pulled off with digital effects. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 just because it is so intense, it's so real. I'm a big sci-fi fan personally, and that just took it to another level. It really is everything you kind of would think of. It's kind of like James Bond meets, I can't think of anything really futuristic in terms of anything. Kind of not necessarily Judge Dredd because that's a little extreme, but kind of the world built around Judge Dredd. Pretty much take every sci-fi trope you can imagine and kind of smash into one movie, but in the best way possible, because this movie's friggin' great. Again, I feel like I've been going on for a long while, but this movie was also very long, and I kind of wanted to get everything out. And I'm sorry for this review being so long, so I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to get it under 20 minutes, maybe with a sign out. But thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. If you did like this review, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you've seen it. Let me know what you think. And I will see you all later. We'll see you later this month with the MovieFellas episode for this month. Again, we switched to bi-month, or not bi-monthly, one episode a month that are going to be fairly long in terms of length. I think we're probably going to shoot anywhere from about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do episodes, which is about normal for podcasts, but most people do them far more frequently than us. But yeah, this has been my review for 2049 Blade Runner. Hope you guys did enjoy this, and I will see you all later. Peace.